So we're going to continue talking about what to do after your partner has had an affair or after they've cheated on you. We've gone through this process of grief as step one. The first thing we do is feel the grief, give it permission uh, to have its way with us, respect the pain enough to feel it, don't push it away, let it be part of who you are. You've earned the right to grieve. You've lost a lot. Second step we talked about was what I called self care to the extreme. Do something, maybe some things that are caring explicitly and solely for yourself in order to an attempt to renew some self confidence, some self esteem. Because when our partner cheats, we lose who we are. We lose oftentimes a sense of self esteem and this self confidence. So doing things to get that back, like setting a goal of something you can accomplish, kind of a larger goal, going back to school, switching careers, losing weight, taking a trip. With the exception of the two things, no face tattoos, right? I said that. It's worth saying again. And don't go in debt when you're doing this self care to the extreme, step two. So step three. Step three is language that gets often overused in particular settings, but I'm going to say it and I'm going to define it. I call it having integrity. This is the process where you take power back over yourself, because it's very likely when you found out your partner cheated on you, you lost the system of control, you lost the system of power over your own emotions, over your thoughts, to some degree over your life, over your relationships. And you probably were making decisions that were not the most consistent with your value system, with who you are as a person at your very core. So when I call what I'm calling having integrity, I mean determining what this value system is, these things that lead you, and then line your behavior up with your value system. Because then we are now doing what we believe and who we believe we are. It's very likely that you have been living off. You have been living incongruently. And I've talked about this at another time. And this is called the suffering gap. When you have a value system, but your behavior isn't matching it, you're suffering. So in step three, what we're talking about is looking at the behaviors and lining them back up with our value system and what we believe is true and who we believe we are. Now, some behaviors might need to change. There's also a chance that you need to take a close look at your value system. That might need to change as well. I'll put a link for a values discussion card down below this video for something to look at, something for you to refer to kind of explore this process. The reason this matters is because I suspect way back when you got the disclosure, whenever that was, you said this is unacceptable, don't ever let it happen again. And it was said out of a bit of heightened emotions, and it was said out of anger and fear and pain. This time when you say it, it's said out of confidence and authority and security. Those are two different messages. Additionally, up to this point, we haven't talked about deciding if you're going to stay in the relationship or not. Now is when you can begin to talk about whether or not you're even going to stay in this relationship. Because now you are imposing a very firm boundary because you deserve it. You speak from a place of healing and security and confidence. How long does it take to get through steps 1, 2, and 3? Months. Some people years. I have examples of both. Everybody's different. But understand, if you've made the decision to stay in the relationship or leave the relationship before right now, it's been very emotionally charged and emotionally reactive. When you make that decision now, going from step 3 into step 4, it's made from a place of confidence, security, and esteem. Because what you're going to do in step 4 is start restructuring the relationship and having hard conversations about what the unwanted needs are for both parties. Because the offending partner has some unmet needs. Just like they have their own grief, just like they've been making decisions that are not congruent with their value systems. They've been going through a process too. But now coming into step 4, it's time to start talking about what unmet needs are Remember? Because if you're here, you've decided to stay in the relationship, and part of staying in a relationship and making it better is meeting one another's needs to varying degrees. You're going to commit to check in on this regular. There's another thing about step 4, this restructuring of a relationship. Have fun. Do fun things together. Dr. John Gottman says friendship is one of the most important elements to having a lasting romantic relationship. By the time I see people, they've not had fun. They've become so bitter. Life has grown them so far apart. In step 4, now you're making a decision to have fun together. So when we're talking about they cheated, now what? Step 1, grieve deeply. Step 2, give yourself permission to care for yourself. Step 3, line up your behavior with your values. Live in integrity. And then say, this will never happen again. And then determine if you're going to stay in the relationship. Step 4, restructure this relationship. Be very purposeful on meeting one another's needs. Commit to check in on those. And choose to have fun and develop that friendship again. This is why more than 80% of people, of couples, that go through the work after an affair to stay together have reported a higher level of satisfaction in the marriage or in the relationship. Wait, you know what we haven't talked about? You know what we haven't talked about? I'm going to say it. I don't care. I'm going to say it. We haven't talked about sex. That's coming. In typical salt and pepper fashion, we'll do that soon.